Here's a brief but annoying message to let you know that you could have first heard this episode 9 months ago if you were a subscriber to our Iron Filing Society Patreon offering.
For the price of a pint and a St Clement's each month, you can get up to 4 episodes a week, 9 months before the rest of the world gets them. Early access to regular episodes, lots of other marvellous benefits, and there's absolutely no adverts or brief but annoying messages like this that will get right on your ticks.
Find out more and subscribe now at tftimemachine.com/ironfilings.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, this is it!
This is Top Flight Time Machine. I am Andy Hotbody Dawson.
I'm Sam Nifty Delaney, so what?
Welcome along to the Melchester Odyssey. Once again, I have in my left hand 10th of March 1984 issue of Roy of the Rovers. Usually across the top, it usually tells us, it gives us a clue as to who the centre spread sign please star might be or which team he plays for. That's not the case this time.
Maybe they didn't get anyone.
9 fantastic football
Maybe this
stories.
week they were unable to get someone, or they got someone who's so shit they thought it's not worth putting on a cover, which I'd be surprised by because some of the shit they have fucking seen fit to advertise. I can't believe that they shifted copies off the back of fucking Luton Town's right back or whatever it was.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it was a last-minute job or what, but the team in question, I'll tell you, is Grimsby Town.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So offence to Grimsby Town.
No offence to Grimsby Town.
The football firmament for all kinds of clubs.
Great club, or as they'd say on 5 Live, it's a great little club. They always say that, don't they? Yeah. You know, like the reporters on 5 Live. Oh, it's the FA Cup third round. There's so much magic and so much excitement, and I'm up here at Grimsby Town, which really is a great little club. And I'm sat there thinking...
Great little club. Proper club.
It's a proper little club. Really patronising, really condescending, really fucking boring. The third round's not exciting. Fuck off. What? Like, I'm used to seeing Premier League footballers who are brilliant, Brazilians, doing fucking flick-ups and overhead kicks. I don't want to see these fuckers playing shit football on muddy pitches. It's great. It's real football. Real people. Fuck you. I'm real. I'm as real as anyone.
I could play for Grimsby.
Just because those fucking Grimsby Town players those fans watch a shit team, right? And I watch a team that are in the Premier League, it doesn't mean I don't have a heart. It doesn't mean I don't have the same blood pumping through my veins. It doesn't mean that I haven't experienced sorrow or sadness or appreciate joy and beauty, right? Doesn't mean I don't have a liver or kidneys or a spleen. I am a human being, just like those Grimsby fans. So fuck you, 5 Live, making out that you're only a proper human if you support a shit team.
Finished?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I was a supporter of a team that spent 4 years in League One, and I never, ever, ever want to go back there. It was horrendous.
I thought you were going to say I never, ever, ever enjoyed it. Well, I bet you didn't.
I don't think I did.
No,
I don't think I did. Even though we finished, towards the top of the table every season, which means we won a lot of games.
Here we are in Sunderland for the FA Cup third round, an area where they love their football. They love their football. They live for it round here. Again, patronising.
Yeah.
I mean, in other cities, they have other things that they can do, like go to galleries or have jobs. Yeah. But up here in Sunderland, they really love it. It's much more important to them because they've not got much else going on. That's the implication.
Yeah. There's rumours of a coffee shop opening up.
They won't like that. They won't like it. They won't know what to do with it. They literally won't know what the coffee is. They'll fling it at each other.
Plans have been submitted for a new seafood restaurant where the food isn't all battered. But we'll see. We'll see if that takes off. The BBC
is just this sort of like, sometimes it just comes across as this like deeply metropolitan sort of organisation that is falling over itself to sort of romanticise other parts of the country or other people who aren't within their bubble. And they're working so hard at it that they're like, they sort of almost fucking end up shoving their heads up their own arses in pursuit of it. And you'll see it mostly on 5 Live because that is the channel, that's the station on their sports coverage where it's all sort of like, their favourite things are oh, it's the magic of the Cup third round. Or it's like, oh, the Commonwealth Games. Wonderful. Wonderful. Is it? Fuck. The policy here is to over-celebrate the shittest things in sport.
Yeah. No one likes the Commonwealth Games, and that's got nothing to do with Birmingham. The fact that it was there, it's just shite. It's shite Olympics.
Yeah, shite Olympics. Is that budget Olympics?
Yeah. Well, let's not get too sidetracked because it is something we do often do on the Melchester Odyssey. So, did I mention what's happening there? Sorry.
I just said, did we? I've never noticed us ever being sidetracked.
Oh, sometimes we don't start the actual Roy the Rover stuff till about 20 minutes in.
Oh, I didn't actually know we were doing a Roy the Rovers episode. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's what this is.
I did.
You just thought generic episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, the subject will reveal itself at some point before the half hour's up. So it's Grimsby. And the player in question, I'm not going to ask you to try and guess a Grimsby
I
player.
couldn't name a single. Again, no offence to Grimsby. It's not. I'm nothing personal against you, but I know it's more my ignorance. I couldn't name a single Grimsby Town player ever.
I reckon if I give you the first name, I think you might get it.
Go on then.
Kevin.
Kevin Bond.
No. It's Kevin Drinkle.
Kevin Drinkle. That was what I was about to follow up with. Kevin Drinkle.
Is that what you were going to say?
But I never knew that he played for Grimsby Town. He became famous at, I think, Norwich, didn't he?
I don't know. There he is. And I've just squashed the centre spread a
that's
little bit
weird,
to make his
isn't it?
face look funny.
Good old Drinkle Drunkle. The drinker.
Looks like he's talking.
Yeah.
I'm moving it up and down. It looks like he's chatting to us.
Drinks.
There he is.
Nickname, Drinks.
Yeah.
Drink Jonks.
And there's his signature, which looks like all footballers' signatures. I think he's modelled that on Kevin Keegan's signature.
He was a good goal scorer. Good goal scorer for Norwich City, as I remember. Presumably also for Grimsby Town, which is how he would have come to the attention of the Canaries.
The Grimsby kit was made by a company called Hobbot.
Well, there you go. It says it all.
HOBOTT, which I've never heard of.
Yeah.
One of the early 80s interlopers.
Have you got a new kit manufacturer? What did Adidas say? Well, we've called them 3 times and we've had no response. Oh, fucking hell. What about Umbro? Umbro did respond, but they said they had to think about it, and we've heard now since then. Oh, all right, what about Admiral?
Anything from Lecoq Sportif?
Oh, you must be joking. Well, we couldn't call them. It turns out their offices are in France. And we just cannot justify the international call.
Can't afford to ring them up.
The expense is insane. So we did send a letter by airmail, but whether or not it's been lost in the post, I don't know. But they don't seem interested. What about Hummel? Hummel? No, again, no response. So we've had to go to a local manufacturer. It's more like a dry cleaners. It's sort of like a dry cleaners, but they do sewing and repairs. And they have offered to sew in the name of the dry cleaners in the manufacturer part of the chest. Oh, well, it'll have to do.
I'm looking to see what Hobbart's all about. It's quite provincial. In 1979, Ken Barrington that's a great name, Ken Barrington, set about turning his local Sheffield sports shop into one of the biggest suppliers of teamwear in the UK. His sports shop, the House of Barrington, was his starting place. And by adding official Teamster top, his name was formed. The acronym Hobbot. A brand new brand was born.
Hobbot. He should have stuck with House of Barrington.
House of Barrington, official Teamster top. Hobbot.
That's a really, really good name for any label. House of Barrington. It sounds classy. Yeah. It sounds very sort of quintessentially British. I'd buy into that. But he's fucked it because he's got a good name, but he's gone for the fucking acronym and called it Hobbot instead.
I mean, to be fair, he found his market and he exploited it. These are the teams that he had back in the 80s. Blackpool, Brentford, Bristol Rovers, Bury, Chester City, Darlington, Doncaster Rovers, Grimsby, Port Vale, Preston North End, Rochdale, Rotherham, Scunthorpe United, Sheffield United, Shrewsbury Town, Wigan, Athletic, York City. So mostly northern and mostly lower league. And I'm sure he'd done very well out of it. Well done, Hobbit. House of Barrington. Ken
Yeah, well,
Barrington,
I mean, I'd never heard of it until 2 minutes ago, and the fact that he had that many clubs is actually extremely impressive.
Given Grimsby Town's geographical location and local industry, who do you reckon sponsors Grimsby Town in 1980?
Fish.
Just fish in
Sponsored
general.
by British Fish.
The Fish Council.
The Fish Council of Britain.
What would be the closest thing to the Fish Council of Britain?
Findus or Birdseye?
Fucking Findus.
Fucking
Yes,
Findus,
correct.
of course it is.
Brilliant.
You know, that of course was the other great thing to come out of Grimsby, apart from Grimsby Town and Fish, is of course Rod Temperton, who wrote Thriller.
Was he not Cleethorpes?
Cleethorpes is right next to it, but the pithier way of putting it, because there was a headline in the Sun. No, there was a headline in the Sun, and it said, Jacko #1 hit penned by fish filleter from Grimsby.
That's right. That's what he did, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was a fish filleter. He was from Cleethorpes, but he worked in Grimsby filleting fish for a while before he gave it up.
Far.
Went to America and wrote Thriller.
Yeah.
I wonder if the first sort of idea, you hear great stories about, this is when that song came to me. So the classic is George Michael thinking of Careless Whisper on the bus on the way to school, right? It'd be wonderful to think if he started thinking about Thriller whilst filleting fish in Grimsby. Fish. It just popped into his head.
Yeah. And
then he thought, you know what? This is an earworm now. Fuck this. I quit. And it'd be like, that scene in Flashdance where she walks out of her welding compound,
right? Yeah,
and goes off to be a dancer, and he I've always wanted to make the Rod Temperton film, the biopic of Rod Temperton. I think it would be cracking, and I would love a scene in it where he just suddenly throws down his filleting knife, right?
Yeah,
he's on the conveyor fucking belt, the production line, with all this fish, and he's in his white fish filleting coat and special little hat, and he goes, fuck this, and he throws it all down. He's been humming the tune to Thriller to himself, and his mate goes, what's that tune? You've been humming that all day, it's driving me mad. What is it? And he goes, I don't know, it's just something that's been going round and round in my head, I don't know where it came from. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a cracking bloody song, whatever it is. And he goes, you know what? It is a cracking song.
It's that classic line, isn't it? You've just written your first #1, son.
Yeah, but it's like Bernard, the guy who works next to him on the fucking filleting production line, and he just thinks, you're right, Bernard, and he throws down his hat and he throws down his knife and he walks out, and the foreman goes, where do you think you're going, Temperton? Come back here this minute or you're out of a job. And he goes, you can keep your job. I'm going to Hollywood to be a songwriter.
Where do you think you're going, Temperton? I'm going to the top of the charts.
and then it cuts to, it says 2 weeks later, and it just cuts to the outside of Neverland. Although, of course, Jacko wouldn't have had Neverland before Thriller. It was his Thriller riches that got him Neverland. So he's just outside the house he lived in with all the rest of the Jacksons.
Yeah. There's also the fact that he was in Heatwave for a while. Before,
but that's we're going to skip all of those bits.
Would that not be in the film?
No, we'd skip all those bits. It's much more dramatic. It's much more dramatic for us to go straight to him going, Mr. Jackson, who are you? Get out of my house. You're not invited. Who are you? Mr. Jackson.
Why do you talk that way?
I'm sorry. What is it? Get it away from me. Jermaine, LaToya, help. Right,
Tito.
I don't mean you any harm. I am here from Britain. I have brought a song that I feel convinced will push your career into the stratosphere. Please, just take the time to read it and perhaps play it on that keyboard over there. Okay, I'll do it, but only if you promise to go away. First, though, before you start playing, I need to read out a sort of a horror story in a spooky voice. It's the only way it'll work.
Try and imagine me as Vincent Price off of the horror films.
Okay. No, of course, he'd written Boogie Nights and Groove Lines, and he'd been in Heatwave, and then he even wrote Gimme the Night for George Clinton. For George Benson. He wrote Stomp for the Brothers Johnson.
Stomp for the Brothers Johnson. He did.
I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
I mean, he's outside of Paul McCartney. You know, I think Paul McCartney's almost the only guy who's written as many fucking bangers, more bangers than Rod Temperton.
Seemed to pretty much jack it in about 86.
Well, you would, wouldn't you?
After that, but of course you would. Why would you keep going?
He wrote 3 songs on fucking Off the Wall and 3 songs off Thriller, and after that it's like, psh, yeah, he did the odd song for people like he did Shaka Khan, Michael McDonald, Manhattan Transfer, few like that. Kept a hand in with those lads, but on the whole, he's just like, I could never work again. I wrote Thriller, mate. I could never work again.
Yeah, where do you go from there?
Yeah, there'll be no more fucking fish filleting for me.
Yeah.
And from that day on, I never even looked at a bit of fish again. I couldn't have it in the house.
I had a boat, but I didn't look over the side in case I saw fish.
Too many memories, too much pain.
Only looked at the sky.
From that day on, I only ate steak and sometimes a bit of pork.
Right, let's do this Roy the Rovers thing, shall we? Fuck's sake. On the front page, Roy was trying to solve the problem of potentially brilliant Rob Richards, who showed signs of blending into the Melchester side, always blending in, during their 5th round FA Cup victory over Swinfield, now as Rovers took on Redstoke in a midweek Canon League match.
Canon
That's the first
League
mention we've had of the league being sponsored.
Yeah, I don't know what the overlap is between the Melchester universe and the real universe.
That's the league they're in.
Strange, isn't it? Because that was what the real league was called at that time.
It was.
Strange.
It was 83, 84 was the first mention of the Canon League. And, it hasn't been mentioned anywhere until March of 1984. Perhaps there's been tense negotiations between the editorial team and the people at Canon. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought about that. I hadn't thought about the Canon League in a long while.
Jalapeño.
Do you remember who sponsored it after the Canon people?
All right, hang on, because I was thinking it was Barclays straight away, but now I realise.
I don't think you'll get this. I don't think.
Well, there's been Carlin, Barclays, so it must have just been a couple of years. Was it like the Today newspaper or something?
Oh, it was.
Oh, go on, Delaney.
Yes,
the colour
short-lived newspaper.
That's the second time. I've had a lot of Universe messages going on recently. That's the second time today that the Today newspaper has come up in conversation. And I'm not lying.
Whoa.
Because I was talking to my missus earlier and she made some sort of joke about... the context is too long to go into, but she made a joke about Andrew Marr of the Today newspaper. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she went, oh, yeah, that's where he started out, wasn't it? I don't know if that's true, by the way. But, yeah, and I said, oh, yeah, Today, that was fucking mind-blowing when it came out with the colour pictures on it, wasn't it?
It was colour.
And it was where Alistair Campbell was as well. He was the political editor of Today for a while.
Right.
And we were talking about it. And now fucking Today comes up again. Mad, isn't it?
There you go. Fucking hell. Right, so, yeah, the Today League, one season, I think they sponsored it for, 86 to 87. And then Barclays, and then... Carlin, and then Barclaycard, and then Barclays.
What is it now? Forgotten. Is it Barclays still?
It hasn't got a sponsor, it says here.
They couldn't get one.
Hasn't had a sponsor since 2016. I hadn't noticed.
They probably worked out it'd be better not to have an overall sponsor because a sponsor demands exclusivity in its sector. Yeah. And they're like, we'd be better off rather than having Barclays. We're better off having fucking 10 different banks all paying a little bit.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Didn't know that anyway. Roy, blah, blah, blah. The Canon League midweek match. Who's this scoring a goal? Fuck me. It's Roy Race. With his right foot this time. We see a couple of fans close up. It's a good front cover, this. I like it. It's a couple of of middle-aged, crotchety-looking fans rather than the youngsters of the Brinsden gang.
The punk rockers.
And so... Roy scored the goal, and one of them says, typical Roy Race effort, the rocket is as deadly as ever. These don't look like Lampards, these fellas.
He's really serious, these are real football men. These are real football men. They've been around. They've seen a lot. Rugged.
And then Rob Richards scores as well. Wheels away with his arm in the air. Yes! Shout the crowd behind. That little effort from Rob Richards was almost as good, says the other fella. You'd think they'd be smiling or something, wouldn't you?
No, they're really serious. But you do get that with proper football men at the football, that they remain emotionless irrespective of what's going on. I've seen enough. I've seen enough to know.
Football.
I don't let the highs get me too high, and I don't let the lows get me too low. What I like to do is I pay my money to come here and feel nothing.
Well, there's an explanation when you turn the page, because it shows us. We see the two fellas together there, and it says the rueful spectators, rueful, were Mike Gladwin and Dennis Blair, captain and manager.
What a pair. What a formidable
Mike
duo
Gladwin
these two sound.
Dennis Blair, men who enjoy sausages.
The sausage-eating captain and manager.
Oh, just look at them. Just look at them close up.
City.
They're just fucking. They're almost emitting sausages from their fucking skin.
Ooh, sausages.
Yeah. The captain and manager of Carford City, the Rovers FA Cup quarter-final opponents, and Dennis Blair says, "What you might call a case of double dynamite." No one's ever said double dynamite.
Double dynamite. So what the fuck's that? Well, haven't you ever heard that phrase before? It's a pretty ordinary and conventional idiom. Not round my fucking street, it's not. You fancy cunt.
I'll say this: you almost did that in a Kevin Keegan voice there, which it probably was a Kevin Keegan kind of phrase. Double dynamite, isn't it? Like double dynamite.
That's what they called me. Even though there was only one of me, they said I was good as two players.
I was so good, I could have been two. A case of double dynamite. What are we going to do about them, boss? Mike Gladwin, the manager, says it's difficult to decide which one of them is most dangerous. Close up of his big fucking fat mountainous head.
Between the two pictures, he's grown an extra chin. I'll tell you this much, Dennis. Well, we're going to need some extra sausages for this match. I might get on the phone to my butcher and get them ordered up now in advance, like, so we can get the link machine ready.
He says, so we'll have to try and shut both of them out of the game and sneak a goal. Sounds easy.
Quite the tactician.
We can't afford a replay. He says, we can't afford a replay, not the way Melchester are playing at the moment. I don't know what that means. Surely you can always afford a replay.
Yeah.
Sure, I mean,
if
you
they're
get a replay,
really
it's
good,
extra money, isn't it?
If they're really good, you go, well, it's better if we just win or lose. A replay, no, because we might lose it. What?
Yeah. But you might have lost the first time. No,
that's
it'll
not
be
how
just
it
too
works,
tiring.
Son, that's
It'll be
not how
emotionally
football's
tiring.
not as simple as that, son.
And then Roy and Rob were indeed causing double trouble for Redstoke. What the fuck's happening here? Roy's crossing it in from the byline on the left-hand side, and he shouts, "Rob Richards!" And it just chips it just nicely over the outstretched keeper of... who's this they're playing again? Swinfield? No, Redstoke. So many team names in this already. It's very confusing. Redstoke's keeper, who goes, "Ack!" It goes over his head. And, of course, it drops to Rob Richards, who taps it in. Yes, a perfect 1-2. And then, oh, God, another one of the crowd says, the partnership between the two R's really is blossoming. Oh, God. It's like when they used to call Shearer and Sutton SAS, isn't it?
That was just made up by a John Pigface sub-editor somewhere on Fleet Street. And, they tried to reverse engineer it into it being like something that was like common parlance. They tried, this is what the fans call them. No one ever called. You notice that in the media a lot. Here's something that annoys me. I mean, look, is a good example is West Ham regarding themselves as the Academy of Football is probably something that I quite understandably fucks off other fans. Fucking what are you talking about, the Academy of Football? Here's one that fucks me off. I know a lot of Spurs fans. Spurs fans are very they're like the Boise of football. Spurs fans, right? They sort of think they
Yeah.
kind of have their noses in the air and think that well, we're a special club. We're a special. There's a magic about us.
We won the double in
1961. Yeah, say no more.
Yeah,
right. It's very sort of strange, and they talk about themselves with like this reverence that they assume everyone else shares, right? And they and I, my brother does this, and a few mates. This is a Spurs fan thing too. Go, well, of course, you remember in the 90s when we had what was known as the famous five. No.
Oh yeah, Ozzy Ardelis signed them,
No,
didn't he?
it wasn't that. They in the 90s. Yeah. Oh yeah, he signed them. Yeah. So it was like they had Barnby and Sheringham and a couple of foreign players.
Dimitrescu and
but who?
Yeah. Basically,
who
too many attackers.
Who called them the famous five? Who called them the
I don't
famous?
know.
Oh, of course, the famous five. Yes, we all know what you're talking about. The famous
Was
five.
Alan Sugar?
Yeah, it's like John Pigface said the famous five, or a Spurs fan called them the famous five, which, by the way, is such a Lampardy fucking Melchester fan phrase, isn't it? The famous five, the famous five. Do you remember the famous five by Enid Blyton? And they had their little dog, Timmy. Maybe we should get a little dog for Jurgen Klinsmann to complete the set.
But that was the thing was though, they had them 5 players and they were all attackers basically, and everyone said they've got too many attackers. It was not going to work, and they were proved right.
Yeah.
And our dealer's got the sack.
So do you know
And
what
then
I think they should have been called? The fuckface
Futile
five.
5.
Yeah, all right, yeah, or futile.
Sorry,
it's just
I
that
didn't hear what
thing,
you
like,
said.
people make something up and then they go around
Yeah.
saying this is what everyone calls them, and it's
Yeah.
like, no, they don't. No one calls them the famous five.
I mean, we had the SAS thing at Sunderland early this season when we had Ross Stewart and Ellis Sims.
Well, there you go.
And Ellis Sims has been recalled by Frank Lampard now. I don't know if you've seen that. He was on loan from Everton.
Has he?
And Frank Lampard's so
Recall,
desperate to hang on to his job. Recall that boy who's scoring all those goals in the Championship. Recall him. Recall him now.
Return to base. Return to base.
Yeah, we need him. And he's sat on the bench now.
Oh no, that
Can't
must
get
be
any football at
frustrating
all.
because he's fucking scoring goals for you, and then
Yeah.
fucking Lampard brings him back, and he's just sat on his arse doing nothing. It's really annoying for Sunderland fans, but also really annoying for him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the word was that he was pissed off that he had to go back.
Yeah, I bet he
was
was.
having a great time here.
Yeah.
I think Lampard's heard this podcast. He's just done it to spite me. That's what it is.
Well, there's been a
be
few
surprised.
clues that he's out to get us.
Well, yeah. Has there?
Yeah, there has. Remember, I received something in the mail once.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was definitely him.
So I just think that Frankie boy, if you're listening,
Yeah.
bring
We're on to you.
it, bring it on. We know what you're fucking up to. Why don't you
Is that
show
all you've
yourself?
got?
If you've got a fucking problem, show yourself. You know, we'll meet up anytime. Meet you anywhere, public place, private place. I will meet you,
I'll tell you
Frank
the
Lampard.
worst. The worst acronym, but worse than the SAS, was the Barcelona one. Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. The MSN, which basically only MSN is only known as Microsoft Network. It's a fucking computer company.
Mate, I'm starting to think, as you're saying these things, I'm starting to think, I can't think of any acronym I like. I think, I've never, this has never occurred to me before, but as we're talking about this, I'm thinking, do you know what? I think acronyms are for cunts.
We're coming down on acronyms now, are we?
I don't like acronyms, mate. I think they're wankers. I think they're for wankers. I can't.
Wankronyms more like.
Think of a good acronym. You can't. The TARDIS is an acronym, apparently.
I mean, we regularly say TTFN on this
Oh yeah, that's true.
podcast, but
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
one.
That's a good
maybe
one.
the only
That's
good
a
one.
good one. Yeah.
I don't know.
Look, I'm as ever. I am more than willing to be proved wrong on this. So if you've got a
Yeah.
good acronym, please send it
Yeah.
in. But I'm here. I'm sat here now thinking, God, every acronym I can think of just sounds cuntish. So
Tell us your best and worst acronyms, and we'll
Yeah.
we'll hold some back, and we'll make February acronym month.
acronym
on
month. Yeah.
because we had Muscles Fortnight, didn't we, a while ago, which was pretty
Yeah.
popular.
And we've got
And I
rabies.
think
We've got rabies January.
Rabies year.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the year. I think.
We had Mud Month at some point as well.
Mud Month. Yeah. Acronym month is going to be February.
Yeah. And we were also
People are going to
doing.
need it once they.
We're also doing unusual granddad hairstyles as well. So
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. yeah, fuck this. We're not going to get through
Do you
this
know
story
what I'd
now,
like
so
to see? Just like, this is completely to do with a different episode, which I don't
That's
know.
fine.
But
This one's just a collapse now.
You see Grandad haircuts, right? And you think of what would you like to see? I would really like to see a grandfather, genuine grandfather, with a Britpop hairstyle. You know, one of those sort of shaggy bowl heads.
Well, it's getting closer, isn't it? Because you get those Paul Weller fans. What do they call them? I forgot. There's a name people have got for them.
The
those obsessed
Wellerites.
Weller fans. I can't remember what it is now. It's
Oh,
a Twitter
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. If you go to...
And these fellas are like
if you go to a
50s
Weller
and 60s
concert...
now.
Yeah, if you go to a Weller concert, there's loads of blokes. And the problem is... I mean, fair enough, it's what they're into. But, like, all of the clothes that were designed for mods were slim-fitting. They've all been designed to be slim-fitting. So whether it's like a Harrington jacket or a Ben Sherman shirt or Levi 501s, they all had a thin silhouette. And what you see when you go to these gigs is like blokes wearing the same gear, but like in triple XL. And they do. The ones that aren't bald still do rock that hairstyle. So I suppose it's not unusual, really. There's probably a lot of granddads with Britpop hairstyles. But I'm all for it. So if your granddad has a Britpop hairstyle / mod cut, then definitely send it in.
Yeah, I don't know if that's our age demographic. They're going to have granddads that look like that, unless we've got like,
I don't know,
15-year-olds listening.
What you think that who knows? It's a weird. All I'm saying is you should know by now.
Put it out there.
It's a strange world.
Yeah.
We live in a strange world, and it never ceases to surprise us, particularly when it comes to haircuts and grandparents.
Just before we end this, I've just seen that, on Twitter that the Everton owner Farhad Moshiri has given Frank Lampard the vote of confidence.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, fuck. Well, it's all going to come down to, you got Moyes is on the brink, right? And Lampard's on the brink, right?
Yeah.
And next week, it's Everton West Ham. And that is the do or die fixture for both of them. And I've heard through my contacts that that's the game that decides Moyes' future. That's the one. We got Wolves and Everton, and those are these two games. But the Everton game is the one that he has to win. If we lose that, he's out. But I tell you what, if Lampard loses it, he's out for sure, because you're losing to another relegation rival.
But then if Lampard loses, then Moyes can't go back to Everton, which feels like the obvious.
Unless they go to Moyes at that point and say, we want you to come back. And I genuinely think Moyes would, because he'd probably think, you know what, fuck this now.
But Everton's just a massive basket case of a club, isn't it?
But he probably just has a deep love for Everton. That I'm sure he's got an affection for West Ham. But, you know, some managers are synonymous with certain clubs, and that's Moyes and Everton, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just hoping this happens, basically. I'm hoping.
See. Sorry we didn't get through the Melchester stuff. We'll pick it up next time. As we always say, there's no rush.
Can't wait to hear more about Mike Gladwin and Dennis Blair, to be honest.
Their sausage intake.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've also been promised something in this one, which we didn't get round to, which was the Dortmund Hammer.
Oh. What's that?
Remember that?
No, is that a part of this story, like Roy the Rover's story, or elsewhere in the comic?
It's a player, isn't it? Yeah, it's a player. But I don't know.
What, a real life player or a player in Roy the Rover's?
No, in this story. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, great.
Yeah.
So they'll be playing in Europe, will they?
No, I don't want to give too much away, but we will see the Dortmund
I can see
Hammer.
him. I can see him now.
Time.
I've scored forward,
Big fucker, isn't he?
Oh, fucking hell. He's quite sexy, actually. And also, something to look forward to for next time, Roy, later in this story, dons a rather fetching, almost Lewis Collins-like sort of leather safari jacket, which I've not seen him wear before. I don't know why, what's happened there, whether he's got it through a sponsorship deal, but it's fucking good.
It's got a bit of Mike Baldwin about it as well, hasn't it?
Yeah. All right, cunts, like the new jacket, I got 80% off in return for them putting a shot of me in the window. I said it could only stay up for 1 week.
Which weirdly was what I thought. I thought of Mike Baldwin when I read Mike Gladwin.
Yeah.
But hey, who knows how this
He's
all
always
works.
looming large in
So,
your psyche.
I guess so. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. Back with more next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.